happened. According to this April 2001 Pentagon email, Air Force officials wanted a war game, having a terrorist group hijack a commercial airline and fly it into the Pentagon.
The truth is pouring out in the media. You can hardly keep up with it. It's even coming out on Fox TV. Bill O'Reilly went on national TV to say he was wrong. He was wrong. He admitted he was wrong. That's big of him. Most of these people never admit they were mistaken. But the most telling evidence came from President Bush's favorite and chief arms inspector in Iraq, David Kay, who, after spending $500 million of your tax dollars in recent months with 1,500 skilled inspectors, returned home to report to his commander-in-chief, and he said, with further elaboration, he said, quote, "We were wrong," unquote. We were wrong. I remember candidate George W. Bush saying that actions should have consequences, that actions should involve responsibility.
We never engage in a rush to judgment. We study things over time. And I said that I wasn't sure about Ralph Nader in earlier segments of this film, but now I'm even more sure, my friends, that he's a tool to give us the illusion of choice. Not only is one of his former top lawyers and campaign managers a Skull and Bones member, but now we learn that Mr. Nader's book was published by Fox Television, and he's been all over Fox promoting it. Now, again, I'm not saying that, oh, this is some plan to get Bush elected, because we know that Nader takes votes away from Kerry, but it's just an added level of this Byzantine, Machiavellian subterfuge that we should all be conscious of. Mr. Nader, who are you really working for?
The war on terrorism, particularly in its homeland defense manifestation, is a thin cover for the war on dissent.
A lot of prominent individuals have come out against the war. And they're not all what you'd call leftists. Mel Gibson has come out against the Iraq war. He said that it's wrong, that it's unconscionable, that it's a crime, that it's not America's place. And you know, Mel Gibson is just in line with George Washington, who said, don't get involved in foreign entanglements. Don't get involved in imperialism that was the norm at his time in the world, and is still the norm today, just more sophisticated, more veiled.
Power is a gift we have to utilize within ourselves for others in the best way possible. The paradigm of power is the highest standard of power, and that simply is giving.
For 50 years under both parties, our government has been supporting brutal dictators who suppress their workers and their presence. Why don't we have a war on global infectious diseases that are taking millions of innocent lives and are coming to this country in drug-resistant strains?
This is what it's all about, coming out here against tyranny, not as liberals or conservatives, but just as human beings that love freedom and are standing up against the establishment and saying, we are not your slaves!
Throughout history, there's different types of power, and there's powerful people that are powerful because they do good things, and they do it for the right reasons. Why is it, though, really dark, evil, wicked people who are sadistic and enjoy doing bad things to populations, enjoy mutating populations spiritually, physically, financially, why do those type of individuals normally get into power, and then once they have power, no one's challenging them, they increase the murder, the slaughter? How do we stop? Well, number one, why do we see that happen, or do you agree? And then number two, how do we stop that?
A lot of the people who are under the power of the tyrants are like sheep. They know nothing else. They have no role models. This is from generation to generation to generation, and they come with generational curses, and they come from the spirits of evil, and there's 14 of them that are listed in the Bible. And when you have these spirits of evil working with you, within you, around you, and you have the spirits of evil working in the leaders and in the politicians and in the generals working with them, you have nothing but evil. Nothing but evil. And the most endangered species is dedicated leaders.
I mean, good leaders.
I mean, dedicated leaders in the right way. in the good way.
You have to limit government power and the intrusiveness of government and take away the need for the money that they come after us for.
We're seeing a lot of lying by the Attorney General. Comments about the new Victory Act, Patriot Act 2, and the lying.
Well, you know, I pointed out in my speech just a little while ago that he had a beautiful quote when he was a senator. I mean, they flip-flop and they deceive. I don't think he would admit that he was doing any lying, but he now serves a different master. He serves the administration, and if they say this is what you're going to do, he goes along with it. So it's just total inconsistency. That's why we need people in government that are willing to stand up for their beliefs and explain what they believe in, and they shouldn't be allowed to stay there, you know, if they flip-flop and just do whatever they feel like doing.
George W. smirks. Dick Cheney sneers, Rumsfeld jokes, Powell blusters, Rice lies. Enron and WorldCom steal, DynCorp vaccinates, Halliburton feeds and feeds and feeds and feeds. Americans hurt, and in Iraq, Americans die. Our national leaders insult our allies, create more foes, reward their friends, increase our insecurity through their own policies, and plunge the American people into the deepest economic abyss of a generation. Stealing an election in Florida on the uncounted Chads, representing the legitimate hopes and aspirations of blacks and Latino Floridians. Even the Democrats failed to pursue a remedy that would permanently secure the voting rights of people of color in Florida and around our country.
Congresswoman Cynthia McKinney, who was targeted by her own party